Short little lesson here today. One that we all know, but sometimes we get mixed up because of just the culture that we live in, but even beyond that, just being a human. We understand merit-based societies. We understand that you work and then you receive the reward of your effort. We also realize that doesn't always work out as well for some as it does for others, and we also realize that many times what messes the whole process up is our stupidity, which I can certainly account, or attest to that. It's just the way it is. But I want you to think about our relationship to Christ. I've been thinking about this a lot recently with friends and loved ones that are suffering, struggling through various things that life brings at them, and certainly at times even, Sue and I, and certain aspects of life that we have to face or deal with in our own personal lives. But just take a moment and just consider that idolatry, when we look at idolatry, which, by the way, God prohibited, it was the first 3 verses of the 10 Commandments was, look, you're not to worship any other God but me. You're not to make any images of any other creature or on heaven and earth and worship them. You're to worship me. And you remember, obviously, the golden calf issue and the struggles that the children of Israel had. They were always looking for something that they could set up and say, this is what I worship. Idolatry has a very interesting aspect to it. The point of it is that if we serve this object, this God, whether it be in the Old Testament, many of the gods that they worship were fertility gods, or gods that would provide for them, fruitful land and opportunities and things such as that. Success in war, all these various things, that if we worship them and we give them our full, obedience, then we're going to see a fruitful reward. So it's basically faith in what we do dictating an outcome. We believe that there'll be an outcome if we do this. Well, Christianity isn't like that. And I just want to really encourage you to think about this, because there's a whole segment of Christianity that has kind of fallen into this trap, that if you just believe hard enough, or if you just have enough positive thinking, or if you just capture these verses and keep repeating them, or you see yourself in a certain light, then certain things are going to happen for you. You're going to prosper, you're going to be healthy, you're going to change your circumstance, everything's going to be better. Well, wow. Is it always like that? Let's be honest. And are the people that don't necessarily see the same outcome any less than others? Well, if so, then in Hebrews chapter 11, all those people that wandered about in, skins and lived in caves, and those that lost loved ones and suffered great loss, but they were in the chapter of the heroes of faith, and they without us could not be complete. I guess that meant nothing. So it just can't be that. It just can't be that if we do enough of any one thing, I don't care whether it's prayer, read your Bible, I don't care whether it's do good deeds, works, give out tracts, just go down the list. Give. If I keep giving, I'm going to get from God. Not that God doesn't bless those who give with a grace attitude, a gracious attitude. He does in 2 Corinthians 9 and verse 7 on. He knows how to bless those who give with a right attitude. And he loves doing it. But you don't give to get. You give because you're motivated by the one who loved you and gave himself for you. So one is really faith that is about dictating an outcome. That would be idolatry. That'd be much like, just a person expecting a certain return on what they've done. And that's great in a world where you work for a wage. I get that. But you remember, I believe the parables in Matthew 18, I'm not specifically sure of this, but remember the landowner, and he sent people out at different times, and then he sent some people out the last hour of the day, and when they all came back, the ones that had worked the full day were very upset that the landowner gave the same amount to the ones that had worked for just a very short period of time, just the last few hour of the day, or just the last period of the day. They said, we should get more. And he said, didn't I make an agreement with you? And can I do with what I have what I want? And really, that's the way it is with God. It's a grace thing. We get what God gives us, and he wants us to be thankful for the kindness that he pours out on us. And that thankful heart means a lot to him. Our prayers should be based on thanksgiving. Our attitude, a sense of being happy or blessed, it all comes with thanksgiving. So really, it's not for us what we get as a result of what we have believed. It's actually the one we get to know, the true object of our faith, because we have believed. We get to know him. So we get to see him, whether it works out by sight or it doesn't. We get to see him. We get to see him in the valleys, and we get to see him on the mountaintops. We get to see him in the disappointments, and we get to see him in the incredible victories. We get to see him. Look, the rest of the world has no hope like this. All they have is the disappointment. So much so that oftentimes they have to just live totally apathetic to ignore these realities. Or they have to, sedate themselves so that they can just ignore these realities. But we face life, and in everything, Christ is in it. Now, I don't know about you, but the one thing I do want to pass on to those that I know and love is that Christ was in it. I don't want to be the greatest or the best or the most successful. That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't want to be the most knowledgeable. I don't want to have the greatest grasp of anything. I just want to know him. And I want those that I love to know that my goal in life was not to leave some huge, quote unquote, legacy behind, but to leave a story of a person who saved my life, a story of a person that I met in a moment of great need and personal doubt, and he loved me in the midst of my horrendous weakness, and has loved me ever since, who gave me a precious gift in Sue to love me, and I don't deserve it, and children to love me, and I don't deserve it, and grandkids to love me, and I don't deserve it. I just want them to meet Jesus. I guess the point of this whole devotion is that should be the object of your faith. Till next time, friends, God bless you.